Hi, baby girl, you're so beautiful. Welcome back to a series I'm liking to call these days, Here's What I Read Last Month. This is part of my endeavor to perhaps foolishly read 100 books this year, which, once I figured out math today, really does turn out to be just about 2 books a week, every week, with the exception of maybe a couple in the year where I'll read 2 a week for the year. So far we're on track. I'll put the 8 books I read in January down below in the comments. You tell me what you read this month, because I want to know. So add those in. I want to highlight 3 standout books from January that I read that I would highly recommend and share in my knowledge. Without further ado, the first book that I will highlight is Automatic Noodle. It was kind of outside of my usual genre. It's a little more sci-fi, a little more dystopian in almost an Octavia Butler sort of sense. And it was a very heartwarming book about robots that start a noodle restaurant. It's in this kind of post-apocalyptic San Francisco, where California has broken off from the rest of the US. It did absolutely make me want hand-pulled noodles, which, very unfortunately, there is not a spot in my town with hand-pulled noodles, and I find that a great travesty of our times. So, short read, I want to say it's even under 200 pages or just about a 200 page mark. Very of the moment, sweet book about food, which I'll never turn down. You've seen my cookbook reviews probably at this point, and I'll include links to some of those in the comments as well. For those like myself who have dabbled in sci-fi, but really are more here for a cozy read about an unlikely team of heroes that band together to do something really lovely for their community, then Automatic Noodle is the book for you. Second, I will highlight My Friends. This is a book, I believe the author is from Scandinavia, from Norway perhaps, and it is about a famous artist and the painting that made him famous, made his name. I found it placeless so as to be relevant to anyone. You know, it's not distinctly in a town with a name, right? So the fact that it may or may not be set in Norway, it still has these universal themes that really translate well. Of course, it's been translated literally in English. I was a little late to this game. This book was extremely popular in 2025. I like books like long, sweeping histories of friendship. So I've always loved the Elena Ferrante, Neapolitan Quartet, and this is no exception to that kind of book, but it's standalone. So you're not committed to this like multi-100 page, 1,000-page 4-book series. Instead, it's just a 1-book standalone story. My only critique, I think, would be that it's a little heavy-handed with the trauma dumping. So many of the characters go through so much, and all of them have terrible things happen to them. And so it is a bit of a kind of like a Les Mis or a Tess of the D'Urbervilles sort of longer slog than I might have anticipated, but I was kind of here for it because winter reads I tend to just like, particularly this time of year. Gray. Sometimes the books I read reflect the mood I'm in. Maybe you're the same. The third book that I'll highlight of the 8 that I read last month, 100% worth it. Honestly, one of the better books I've read in a long time is Cloud Cuckoo Land. This author also wrote All the Light We Cannot See, which has won a myriad of awards, got turned into a movie. I would hope for the same for this book, because Cloud Cuckoo Land was incredibly well done. I could absolutely see it turned into a movie format or even like a series format. It's reminiscent to me of Geraldine Brooks's People of the Book, which also follows a historical text across generations and centuries and strife and conflict and how it changes hands over time. this was a standout for me. This is absolutely the favorite book that I read in the month of January. I anticipate it'll be a highlight book for the year of 2026 for me. And I'm reading in preparation for the yoga retreat I'm running in Turkey in May, because this book in part is set in Turkey. It's set in Constantinople right before the Muslim invasion in the 15th century, and goes from there, right? The story of how texts become, history, how any paper record can survive over many, many lifetimes. It's a commentary on what it means to be human and climate change and the repercussions therein. And you're following many different storylines from the 15th century into the near future. And I could not put this book down. It was a page turner. I was up till 3 a.m. one night, or later, I'm really not sure. I was very tired the next day reading this book. And that is not the case for me with every book, right? It just kept me up at night. And I mean that in a good way, because I'm the type of person who normally just falls asleep and has no problem doing so. But this book won't let you sleep. So know that. Cloud Cuckoo Land, 15 out of 10, incredible read. And that's what I've got for you for January 2026, what I read last month, what I'd recommend you try, you read. Please tell me what you're reading, what you'd recommend I add to my list. I'll be reading lots more books about Turkey and about Istanbul in preparation for retreat. I've got my eyes on some beach read, kind of lighter content as well, namely Emily Henry, because I have a very soft spot for all of her books. So stay tuned for future reads, and I'll see you soon.